The following program is brought to you by Caltech.
Our next recipient is Dr. Cleve Moller. Cleve has been referred to as one of the founding fathers of numerical analysis and scientific computing, whose imprint can be found in almost every field where computers help calculate mathematical problems. He graduated from Caltech in 1961. He then received his PhD in mathematics from Stanford. After a postdoctoral year at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, he joined the Math Department at the University of Michigan. He then moved to the University of New Mexico in 1972, where he remained for 13 years, 5 as chairman of the Computer Science Department. During the 1970s, he co-authored LINPACK, and other groundbreaking software libraries for matrix computation. He also developed MATLAB, a high-performance technical computing environment that is now used by more than 1 million engineers, scientists, and academics worldwide. Maybe those equations we saw came out of MATLAB. And I don't want to deflate your balloons here, but in 1984, Cleve co-founded MathWorks to commercialize MATLAB software. After helping found the Intel supercomputer group, he returned to MathWorks full-time in 1989 as its chairman and chief scientist. Today, the company is the world's leading developer of mathematical computing software. He continues to work on mathematical components of MATLAB, as well as to write books and articles about computational science. He is a member of the National Academy of Engineering and has held various positions in the Society for Industrial and Applied Mathematics, including a term as president. Cleve, please join me.
Thank you very much. If you check with me afterwards, I'll give you all 134 digits. You can. Well, thank you very much. This is a terrific honor. I'm very pleased to be back on campus. I've been here off and on over the years for 50 years, but it was really nice being on the reunion activities. Caltech really changed my life. I think I got admitted here because I was from Utah, and that was their idea of diversity back then. Some important people here. John Todd, professor of mathematics, who got me involved in computing. George Forsyth at the Caltech North Campus in Palo Alto was a big influence on my life. I'd like to tell you a little bit about something that is kind of an obscure part of my career here, but very important. I was editor of the California Tech, the newspaper, when I was here, and Ed Hutchings was the editor of E&S, an advisor to us, and Hutchings was a wonderful mentor. But the guy that had a lot of influence on me, I don't know his name. You may remember that back then, 50 years ago, Fortune magazine did a long piece on Caltech, and the author of that was a freelance reporter who spent a couple weeks here on campus. Because I was editor of the paper, he was my student contact, and we actually spent some time together. I talked to him about what I was going to do with my life. Both my parents were journalists, and I told him that I wanted to be a science writer like he was. And his advice was to I wasn't sure I wanted to be a mathematician. His advice was to stay in school and study mathematics. He says, you can always learn to be a writer later, but now is the time to learn mathematics. And I took that advice, and I like to pass it on to anybody else. So young people, tell your kids and your grandkids, stay in school, study while you can, come to Caltech, and try those other things later. So I don't know who that guy was, important guy. Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody else.
Cleve said that he's not sure why he was admitted to Caltech, and reminds me, I'm very often asked by students, how do you become president of a place like Caltech? So they want me to talk about my life, and I do that, but I also tell them, ultimately, I can tell you it's much easier to get into Caltech as the president than to get into Caltech as a freshman.